Hey, everybody. Drew McLellan here from Agency Management Institute. Grateful to be here on the agency track with our friends from B2B Growth. Many thanks to them for inviting me to host this track with you. Today, what I want to talk to you about is the very recent CARE Act passing in relation to COVID-19. So I'm sure all of you are paying attention to the fact that the federal government is scrambling to try and get aid and relief out to individuals, to small businesses across the country. And they just last week, I'm recording this on Monday, March 30th, just last week, they approved and the president signed the CARE Act, which is a $2 trillion with a T, trillion dollar relief bill that's got all kinds of different provisions in it. But the one that I want to call your attention to is the Paycheck Protection Program. And the purpose of that program is to help small businesses like your agency and mine not have to let our employees go because of business disruption. So the way it works is you will provide some documentation, probably year-end P&Ls, but most important, your payroll numbers for the last year, and also your utility and rent and mortgage numbers for the last year. So you're going to present some documentation that shows, here's how much I've been paying in payroll and benefits, and here's what I pay in utilities, rent, mortgage, that sort of thing. And then your bank or your credit union. So this loan is being administered through 7A lenders. So that's pretty much any bank that is FDIC insured or any credit union that is federally insured is going to be able to administer these loans. And the cool thing about these loans is they're forgivable. So let me tell you how it works. So you go to your bank or credit union, you tell them you want to apply for the PPP loan, the Paycheck Protection Program loan. You provide your documentation, and you will be given a loan that is basically 2.5 times your monthly nut. So your loaded salaries and your utilities and rent and mortgage. So they're going to take whatever that number is, they're going to multiply it by 2.5, and they're going to deposit that amount of money into your checking account, assuming you already have a relationship with this bank. And that is your loan amount. And the loan is, there's no collateral. It's not tied to you personally. I believe the interest rate is going to be, I think it has to be 4% or less. I'm not sure if that's been determined yet, but it should happen this week. And as long as you do not change your staffing in the 2 months that the loan covers, then the loan is forgiven, and all you have to do is pay the interest on that loan. And I don't think the loan actually comes due, so you wouldn't have to pay the interest. I think it's a year, but honestly, this is so brand new that a lot of the details are a little fuzzy. But here's what you need to do. I know $2 trillion sounds like a lot of money, but remember that's being scattered out into many programs that are inside this CARE Act, including the one that sends like $1,200 to every American who filed taxes. So we're talking that money's going to go quickly. And so you don't want to dilly or dally on this. So what you want to do is you want to talk to your CPA. You want to gather the documentation that you're going to need. And you need to call your banker. And you need to say, look, I know that odds are you're still getting your ducks in a row around this program. But as soon as you're ready to take applications, I want to be first in line. So here's the documents I'm gathering. Is that all I need? Do you need anything else? And let them tell you that. And then you get all the documents together and you apply as quickly as possible so that money doesn't run out before you get your share of that money. So again, it is a forgivable loan as long as you don't make changes in your staffing. And I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe it also allows you to include your 1099s. And I'm not sure how they're going to determine that. So you're going to want to talk to your banker about that. The actual document, which is about 800 pages, was not very specific about it. Just mentions that your independent contractors may be covered as well, but there's no detail there. So you're going to want to ask about that. There's all kinds of documentation on the CARE Act and all kinds of other things related to surviving and thriving through COVID-19 and getting to the other side. And you can find all of those at agencymanagementinstitute.com/COVID. And what we've done is we've organized these resources. And by the way, it's not firewalled. We're not going to ask for your email address. We're not going to try and sell you anything. I just want you to have the resources you need to be able to manage through this crisis for you and your team and your clients. So anyway, the stuff, I mean, it's everything from podcasts and webinars and videos, and then documentations from the federal government and breakdowns of the CARE Act and actual English so you can understand it. All of that stuff is organized by date. So the most current documents are at the top of the page, and then you can scroll down and see all of the things that we've been putting together for the last several weeks. So I hope you take full advantage of that. Use whatever there is of value to you and disregard the rest. But we just want to be a resource to agencies right now as you navigate all of this. But your number one job this week is to call your banker and get on their radar screen that they know you want to file for this loan and that you have everything ready and you're ready to go. Do not let this opportunity go by. So I got an email from an agency owner that said, well, I have no debt right now, so should I not apply? Or would I be ineligible? And no, you would not be ineligible. And the reality is that it's a very rare agency that has not had some impact. That is one thing you have to do. You have to talk about, and again, there's no language in the act that says how, but you have to show, and I'm assuming that's just with giving them examples of how your business has been adversely affected by the COVID virus. And everybody has had that. So whether it's expenses from having to work from home or lost revenue or whatever it may be, I can't imagine there's an agency listening to this that has not been impacted by the COVID-19 situation. So you have to be able to prove or document or tell stories or however they're going to do that you have been impacted, that you've had clients walk or whatever your story is. You've got to have your payroll documented, your benefits documented in terms of what you've spent. And then, like I said, utilities, rent, and mortgage. So the quicker you can get that gathered and the quicker you can get a hold of your banker, the further up in line you will be so that you can take advantage of it. So for many of you, knock on wood, maybe you're not experiencing a lot of loss. And maybe you don't feel like you need a safety net, or you've got a pretty good sized line of credit that you think you could just use that. So I'm not saying every agency out there needs to go after this, but what I'm saying is the vast majority of you, this would give you a couple months of relief that would allow you to weather the storm without having to go into retained earnings or your line of credit. And remember what I said in the last episode, your goal is no debt. You do not go into the red during this season because you have to be ready and strong and salvageable when you get through this storm. And being deep in debt and taking on water, to stick with you're the captain of the ship that needs to get it to calm waters metaphor. If you're taking on water, then you can't survive this, and you're not going to be able to be strong and ready to go when the storm passes, because the storm will pass. We did a podcast that you can find the link to on the website that I just told you with an agency owner out of Hong Kong. They're 3 months ahead of us, and it's a very different story for them now. They're back at work. They're back having face-to-face meetings. The restaurants are open, and they're back serving clients again in a much more aggressive way than they were a couple months ago, which is where we're at right now. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It is not a train, but we have to get there. And I think the Paycheck Protection Program will help many of you get there stronger and ready to serve your clients. All right. I know one of the things that a lot of you are really stressing out about is having to let good people go in the midst of a crisis, especially let them go and maybe they don't have health insurance anymore. So this is a way for you to protect your people, protect jobs, and come out stronger and better on the other side. So check it out. There's all kinds of documentation out on the internet, obviously. We've culled through it and have linked to some of the pieces that we think make it easiest to understand. on the agencymanagementinstitute.com/COVID page, but you certainly can find resources at other places, but don't wait on this. If you are going to take advantage of it, jump on it right now. All right. And if you're looking for help, if you need anything, please come find us. We are ready to help agencies weather this storm, and we're trying to put out as much helpful content as we can. And we would love to welcome you into the fold and be helpful to you. And again, no, we're not going to sell you anything. All we want to do is help. So if we can be helpful to you, please come find us and let us do that. All right. I'll be back with another episode soon. Again, many thanks to the folks at B2B Growth. We also are producing a lot of content around this topic on my podcast, Build a Better Agency. So if you're not a listener already, now might be a good time to tune into an episode or two. We'd love to have you. And I'll be back soon with another episode. Thanks.
I hate it when podcasts incessantly ask their listeners for reviews, but I get why they do it, because reviews are enormously helpful when you're trying to grow a podcast audience. So here's what we decided to do. If you leave a review for B2B Growth in Apple Podcasts and email me a screenshot of the review to james@sweetfishmedia.com, I'll send you a signed copy of my new book, Content-Based Networking, How to Instantly Connect with Anyone You Want to Know. We get a review, you get a free book. We both win.